I'm not very good, am I? I think I need some tuition. Fortunately, I've come to the right place. I'm here at a session of Sefton Art Group, one of the northwest of England's premier art groups. And these people can paint. I mean, really paint. The group has around 100 members, and we're set up by artist Roy Mundy. And if I can find him, he'll be able to tell me a little bit more about the group.
Right, listen up folks. Well, Roy's not here, we'll have a bit of a laugh, eh? Okay folks, gather round. What I thought I'd speak about is that famous Belgian artist, Henri Magritte. For anyone that is not aware of who he is, he's quite a character really. He always painted with a suit on, shirt and tie, and was always wearing a bowler hat when he went out about town. There was an exhibition at the Tate a few years ago which we went to, and it was fascinating, it really was. For me personally, it was a mixture of Picasso and Salvador Dali. But it's well worth having a look on Google to see his works. But he had a unique talent coupled with a really mischievous side to him. So I thought what I'd do, I'd look a couple of things up myself and see what you think of these. This one was off the internet. Yeah, this is the sort of thing that he would do. And then I thought, well, what I'd go and do myself and see if our colleagues and friends could depict what this is. Anyone know what that might be? Yeah, it's a giraffe passing the window. I forgot to put the clock in. Anyway, this one here, another one. See what you think of this one. What do you think that might be?
Vision.
No, nearly.
Two flat eggs.
No. Anyone else? It's two Mexicans riding a tandem. Nearly there. Here we come to Henri Magritte. Now, because he was such a famous painter, there was an American billionaire that was mad on Buffalo Bill and that era and the campaign of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Anyway, he got in contact with Henri and he said, look, I need a painting, abstract. He said, but I want a painting of what I think what came through Custer's mind at that Battle of Little Bighorn. He said, money's no object. He said, there's no rush. I'm going away for a couple of months. I'll give you a ring when I get back and we'll see what you've produced. So we had a bit of a think about it, played around with different drawings. And this is what he came up with. Okay. Anyone, any idea what that might mean? No? Okay. Well, what he did is it's holy mackerel. Look at all them effing engines. It's good, isn't it? I thought that. Have I just done that for now? Talk about being stitched up. Anyway, there was this couple from Wigan. Sorry. There was this couple that lived in Wigan, born and bred Wigan for, 60 plus years. Never been out of Wigan. Nowhere at all, not even abroad. And they were celebrating the Ruby wedding anniversary. And she's sitting there, marking this in a bag, and she said, I booked us holiday in Benidorm for 1 week, all inclusive. So he's absolutely gobsmacked. He said, well, I don't know the language. He said, are we going to order a beer? She says, all you do is you talk really slow. So he's happy with that, so he's doing a bit of practice in Spanish. And anyway, the day comes for the flight and off they go. Get over to Benidorm, transfers go well. Right up to the room, as you do, case out, in, shorts on, black socks, white pumps, vest, cap, down to the bar, you see. So he goes to the bar, seats her down, and he says to the barman, he says, hola, 2 pints of a lager, please. the barman says, "You're from Wigan." "Eyes from Wigan too." So the fellow says, "Well, if you're from Wigan and eyes from Wigan, how come we's talking Spanish?" It's tough, sir. Every time I paint a portrait, I lose a friend. John Stringer Sargent, an American painter. Who said, "If I like it, I say it's mine. If I don't, I say it's a fake." Pablo Picasso. And this is just food for thought. If you think about the painting of The Last Supper, everyone's seen it, you're familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to know is why there was no one on the other side of the table. Right? And one for the ladies. What kind?
Hello, Roy.
Hello, Karen.
There's a lot of joviality going on there
is
in the
there?
hall.
Oh, I see. That's probably Steve telling his jokes, isn't
Yes, and not such a good joke either. Yes, not very funny, but don't tell him I said
it? Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, we do take our art seriously, but at the same time, we are a very social active group as well.
Yes.
You know, so yes, it's a fun occasion as well.
Yes.
As
Well, they
as
all
that.
seem quite close, and they seem to sort of be quite friendly with each other as well.
Well, they've
which is
been coming
nice.
for a number of years. I mean, the longest members have been coming approximately since the group started, which is going back almost 10 years.
Right. So can you tell me a little bit more about how Sefton Art Group was first formed?
Well, it was the Sefton Council. They had Sefton Arts, which they sort of set up to encourage people to engage not just in the painting and drawing, tap dancing or whatever. So that's what started it, and they asked me to set up a group, which I did. And then the other classes quickly followed on that until the present day, which now makes us one of the largest practicing art groups in the Northwest.
So how many members have you got in this particular group?
Probably 100. Yeah, there's roughly 100 members who come on a weekly basis.
That's a lot of members.
It is.
What sort of age range have you
Well,
got?
that's a good question. The majority of people who come to me are people who perhaps enjoyed art at school. Then life took over, so they never had the opportunity. Then once they reached retirement age, suddenly they found time on their hands.
Yes.
And really, that's it. All they need to come along with is a desire to want to do it. They don't need any skills.
Great.
A lot of people are put off taking up art simply because they think, or they've heard this myth that to do art you must be born with a natural
Yes.
talent. That's untrue. Learning art is like learning many disciplines, whether it's baking a cake, riding a bike, driving a car.
So how long does a session last?
We have 2 hourly sessions. We go for 10 weeks, and then members enroll them for a further 10 weeks, and we go through the whole year. We do take a break in August.
That's great. So do you hold any special sort of events or exhibitions?
We do. We have 2 main exhibitions a year, one in the spring and then another one at Christmas. And that allows the members to not just display their work in front of the public, which allows them some feedback. It also allows them to sell 1 or 2 paintings, so we get some money back coming into their hobby, as it were.
Oh, that's great.
And we have other locations as well, pop-up shops where we set up.
Ah, right.
Yeah. So there's something going on virtually through the year.
Sounds like a very busy year.
It does. And then on top of that, of course, any big exhibitions which come to the local area, and then I organise trips to those.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Last year we took them to see Francis Bacon exhibition, which was held locally. So they get a lot of inspiration from doing that.
So it's not just an art group, it's like a
No,
friendship group as
it
well,
is.
and it's also
Yeah.
gives them lots of activities.
That's
that
it.
they
I
can
try to
enjoy
broaden
together.
their artistic horizons,
Yes.
and that then in turn feeds through into the work that they produce in the class. And also recently, the members featured in a BBC television programme, and they found that both interesting and stimulating.
Sounds great. Roy, I believe you hold some special events throughout the year.
Yes, we had a very big exhibition in 2014. That was to commemorate the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. So all the members played an active role in that. It wasn't just about paintings and drawings. We had collectors who came in with memorabilia that had been gathered on the battlefields of the First World War. So we also then invited in the local schools. So we had children coming in, and that was part of their education, so they could learn the history of the First World War. So that was a big event for us. Coming up in the near future, we have another big event where the members are going to be working with the local Wildfowl Trust. And last weekend, for example, they went out with their sketchbooks and got some preliminary drawings or indeed paintings. The idea being that over the next few months now, they can turn those drawings into finished paintings, and then we will have an exhibition throughout October. So that's a big event coming up.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
Well, it allows them to take on a project.
Yeah.
As opposed to just coming in and working from a photograph.
Yes.
It's a whole project.
We're bringing it to life, aren't you?
Exactly. And so it engages them over a period of months, as opposed to just week by week.
We now have a short film of the group's special events.
Most of you will have heard of the English port of Liverpool. After all, it's where the Beatles came from. But few of you will have heard of the Liverpool Pals. No, it's not the game of a group of people who get together occasionally for a drink. It was more serious than that, much more serious. In 1914, German troops marched into Belgium. Britain stood by its long-standing treaty with the Belgians and declared war on Germany. World War I had begun. But Britain had a problem. Its regular army at that time was too small for the task in hand, and many troops were already involved in keeping the peace in Ireland. The country needed more soldiers, and it needed them quickly. Then an army general had an idea. Why not create regiments of pals, local groups of people who worked and lived together and who could train and fight together? Liverpool led the way, and within a short time, nearly 5,000 men had enlisted, and in 1915, they crossed the English Channel to confront the advancing German army. In 1918, when the war was finally over, only half of the Liverpool Pals came home, and many of those who did return had been badly injured in the fighting. As a tribute to them, a memorial in the form of 2 large bronze friezes overlooks the concourse of Liverpool's main railroad station. In 2014, Sefton Art Group, one of England's premier art groups, held a special event to commemorate the centenary of the outbreak of World War I and to remember the Liverpool Pals. The local community and schools were involved, and there was an exhibition of World War I-inspired artwork and a display of war artifacts. The event culminated in a special evening with some visitors wearing period costumes and a choir singing songs that were popular during the time.
Build a little home for 2 or 3 or 4 or more in Loveland for me and my gal.
Although primarily concerned with the production of fine art, Sefton Art Group tries, when possible, to work with the local community and to raise funds for good causes. A further example of this is the special exhibition held to support the Walking with Giants Foundation, which provides support to sufferers of primordial dwarfism. Alex, a young sufferer of the condition, enjoyed every minute of this special event. These are some nice examples of how art and the community can come together.
Roy, what sort of tuition do you provide for the members? Can they have one-to-one tuition, private lessons, or is it more of a group thing?
It's more of a group thing. So what happens is, as I said, many people, when they take up art, they seem to think you've got to be born with a natural talent, which isn't true. So when they come to me, I structure the classes so that they start learning from the very basics, which involves drawing. How to draw in proportion to get accurate drawings. The key to painting is drawing, and the key to drawing is measuring. So I teach them what's known as the thumb and pencil method. They can learn that in a matter of a few weeks. From then on, like any other discipline, it's a question of practice. Come week 7, week 8, that's when I first introduce them to paint, and we usually stick with acrylic initially because it's a more forgiving medium. Otherwise, people will apply paint to a painting as they would if they were painting the walls at home. And then after that we have colour theory. So come week 14, week 15, they've learned many of the basics. And then once they learn the colour theory, they're able to work a bit more independent of me. And then beyond that, I introduce them to other media, watercolour. Pen and ink is a very popular one. And also once they get a good understanding of the basics, then they can go on to learning how to paint abstract. And so, as I say, the course is structured to teach them all the basics, and indeed beyond the basics, so that eventually they can work independently of me.
It sounds great. Do you feel that the members progress very quickly because of that tuition?
That depends on how much input they do it themselves. Some of the members come along and do it just in the art class, so they find it more of a social activity. Those who take it more seriously, they work at home.
Right.
And they tend to be the more successful ones.
Yes.
And that's usually proven when we have the exhibitions.
Yes.
Because they can sell a number of paintings in one exhibition.
So practice makes perfect then?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
So we've been talking about your members exhibiting their work. What sort of locations have you exhibited in?
Over quite a wide area locally. A big exhibition was after a £17 million refurbishment at the Parkinson Art Centre in Southport. We were the first group invited to put on an exhibition to celebrate the opening, and that was very successful. And then we also work locally again in any areas where we feel we could put on an exhibition, especially pop-up shops. So the members get quite involved in that as well.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Roy, just tell me a little bit about some of your members. A little bird tells me that they've got something more than artistic skills. They've got some sort of more like cultural skills.
Yes, yeah, that's very true. One of the members is the leader of a band.
Oh, right.
And then we've also got 2 published authors within the group.
That's fabulous. We'll take a short break there, but we'll be back soon talking to Roy Mundy.